All right, what's going on? I believe I'm live and uncut here. Let me just say thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be listening on archive. All right, so check it out. So I'm driving down the street, all right, and I'm listening to on my Bluetooth. Right, in the vehicle, right. I'm listening to the Bluetooth and I'm listening to different videos. I have it on autoplay, subscribe to, and a video pops up of the coach, and he's talking about Juan Manuel Marquez, talking about Saul Canelo Alvarez, El Canelo. So he's talking about El Canelo, um, and I mean the coach goes in on Juan Manuel Marquez because Juan Manuel Marquez has been going in on his favorite fighter for the last 3 years or so, 3, 4, maybe 5 years, give or take, around that area, right? But let's look over this for a moment because there's definitely a disagreement here. Believe me, this is a disagreement, right? Now look, it's funny. I get it. Yeah, and it is kind of embarrassing that he drinks his own pee. But just for the record, I believe he already stopped doing that, right? Plus, if he's still doing it and you knocked out Pacquiao that way, I'm sure a lot of people would still be drinking their own pee too, right? But with that said, a couple of things I want to address, right? Now, every time Juan Manuel Marquez has something critical to say of Canelo, every single time people bring, oh, he's bitter, oh, he's just jealous, right? Well, let me just make this clear. That there's no doubt. Just saying that doesn't mean it's true, right? So let me. How about we just stick to the merits of the stuff that he's criticized Canelo for? How about we just do that? And let's decide whether or not he's actually correct about these things. And if he's not correct about these things, then we could just conclude that he's just hating them, right? So let's look at it, right? And I know, look, it's no big deal. I understand this is the coach's favorite fighter and all, but I mean, I deal with fanatical Canelo fans all the time, so it's all good. But check it out. Right? It's all good. But look, let's just, in all seriousness, let's stick to the merits of this here, right? Let's look at the merits of this issue. Let's just look at the merits. Let's look at some things that he has criticized Canelo for, right? And let's see what the survey says. Does it say that it's false? Or does it say that it's true? Can we decide on one or the other? So, for example, when Juan Manuel Marquez was criticizing the WBC because they said they were going to give Canelo a title shot, his first ever fight, right? We're going to go all the way back here. Let's take it back. It was Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya was there, right? Jose Sulaiman, rest in peace, over there, was there, right? Canelo was there. Marquez was simply asking very simple questions, and he got ridiculous answers that made absolutely no sense. So what was he asking? He simply asked, who did Canelo beat to get a title shot for this belt? And who did his opponent beat? How did his opponent become, number one contender to fight for a vacant title? How did that happen? How did Matthew Haddon, who was not even fighting at that weight class, who was not even highly ranked at welterweight, the weight class below that, get a title shot along with Canelo? He was simply asking, what contenders did he beat? That's really all he asked. Right, so it was a very simple, direct question. What did he get? Well, you're just jealous. Why are you hating? Why are you hating? Why are you mad? Are you mad that you didn't get a title shot like this? That you weren't just handed a title shot? Marquez just simply said what I'm saying. Can you just answer my question? Can you just tell me who he beat to get that title shot? Can you just tell me who Matthew Haddon beat to get this title shot? And how is that fair to the guy who was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 in your own rankings? All Jose Sulaiman could say was, well, he's popular. Okay, people love him in Mexico. That's all he could really say. I don't know about you. Survey says Juan Manuel Marquez was correct about that. He was on the right side of the issue there. It would have been very easy for him to just not say anything about it, right? And there, Oscar De La Hoya just stayed quiet and had absolutely nothing to say because there was nothing to say. Nada, right? There was nothing to say. So there's no doubt that when he has criticized Canelo, he's been correct on the issues, right? If you can't just dismiss it by saying, "Oh, he's just jealous." You know, he's just bitter. He's just a bitter, an old ass, bitter, washed up veteran. That's all he is. If that's the way you want to dismiss it, you could go ahead and do that, right? But if we stick to the merits, though, he's correct. Right? He's very correct. When he was saying, Canelo, what are you doing? What are you weight champion of the world and you're fighting at 155? What does that mean? If you're going to be the champion of the division, then you got to fight the best guys in that division. At least fight some guys in the division. So, of course, he was criticizing the Amir Khan fight. What are you doing trying to fight Amir Khan? Of course he criticized that fight. Why wouldn't he criticize that fight? I criticized that fight. It was a pointless fight. Everybody knew, and I'm not Monday morning quarterback, that was my prediction, that he was going to knock him out. Nobody was excited for that fight. Nobody asked for that fight. So all he was simply saying was that if you want to be the man in the division, you got to actually fight in the division. Is Marquez hating? Marquez actually been the man of a division before, something Canelo's never been. That's just the reality. And if we're not even going to talk resumes, he can't even touch Marquez's resume. And Marquez himself has beaten the boogeyman before and brought him down to size, and his name was Pacquiao, when he was being pumped up even more than Triple G's being pumped up right now. And I'm talking about right after he had finished destroying Barrera and shit, right? Now, the only argument here is, well, he was never a big star. He was never a pay-per-view star. So look, Juan Manuel Marquez, right? Number one, if he's in the top 10 easily, best Mexican fighters of all time, if you even mention Canelo's name, you'll be laughed out of a building if you want to put him in the top 10 right now, right? And that's the reality. That's just the truth, right? So has he been critical? Look, and you have to look at it from the scope of things, okay? Number one, right, if you really look at every situation where he has mentioned Canelo, he was either an analysis on ESPN Golpe a Golpe, which is an ESPN Spanish broadcast show, where it is his job, okay, to look into the fights, talk about the fights. That's what they're asking him. He's not there to be a fanboy and to say, no, he's very popular, therefore he could do what he wants. No, that's not his job there, right? Or interviews where he's been asked direct questions, right? And he's given his direct answer and his direct opinion about that, right? Now, as far as Canelo fighting Marquez, that's very typical of Canelo. Especially since that's what he's done most of his career, have guys move up to fight him, right? So, obviously that doesn't shock me that Canelo wouldn't mind fighting an old-ass little Juan Manuel Marquez who spent most of his career on featherweight. That doesn't shock me whatsoever. But make no mistake about this, okay? Make no mistake about it, right? Let me just say this and make it very clear, right? Of course he knocks out Marquez if they get in the ring. Of course that happens. But, Canelo's used to that. He's used to beating up featherweights in the gym, if you know what I mean, okay? And those that know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So at the end of the day, when it really comes down to it, when you really look at everything that Marquez has said about Canelo, 9 out of 10 times, he's hit it right in the button. He's been correct on the issue. He's been correct, right? People just want to dismiss it as he's just bitter. That's it. He's just bitter. He's just bitter. He's just mad that he was never a big star, right? That doesn't explain away, the issue. It doesn't. Right? It just doesn't explain it away. Right? So when we look at everything on its merit, right? When you look at everything on its merit, we have to judge every fighter equally. We can't give passes if one guy's popular. We can't give a pass if this guy's a pay-per-view star. We can't say, no, well, the rules don't really apply to him because he's popular. And if you say something against him, that just shows that you're just bitter and jealous. That's not the way it works. All right? We need to look at things for what they are. And there is absolutely no doubt that Saul Canelo Alvarez has gotten passes that throughout history almost no one has gotten, right? So pass number one, these are things that he's been critical of Canelo, right? So survey says, is he right or wrong about the actual issue? His very first title shot ever, he did not beat any ranked contenders to earn that title shot, number one. The guy he fought for that title, vacant title, right, hadn't even fought in that division and was not ranked in the division below that. That was something Marquez criticized. Is he right about that? Of course he is. Of course Marquez is right. Right? Is he right about the fact that that fight was in a 150-pound catch weight that Canelo imposed? Canelo himself did not meet that weight. He missed the weight, and he still got to fight for the title. Survey says Marquez is right about that, right? That's not something he made up just to hate on Canelo. It's not. You get what I mean? His second world title, how did he win it? In a 155-pound catch weight, right? That was against Miguel Cotto. His first defense, he defended the title against a welterweight, moving up to fight him at 155. A guy who was known to have a weak chin, who's getting knocked down by lightweights like Julio Diaz, right? That's the guy that moved up and got a title shot for the middleweight championship at a catchweight against Canelo. Survey says Marquez is absolutely right when he brings that up. That's not false information. He's not making that up. So the way I see it, when he criticizes you, we need legends of the sport to call out the current stars of today. We need legends to come out and say, this is bullshit, right? We need to be able to call out these fighters and say, no, that's not the way you do it. Well, what the fuck is that? I could understand this one time, but come on, again? So we need to really analyze these things for what they are, right? The Liam Smith fight. Come on, what was that? Nobody wanted to see him fight Liam Smith. Come on. Now, I don't specifically remember Marquez saying anything about that, but that fight was a waste of time. And now Chavez Jr.? Really? Chavez Jr.? Are you kidding me? You just won the title 154. Why don't you fight a top 154-pounder? Why don't you just do that? Why do you have to go fight Chavez Jr. for? What's the point of that? And it's not like he's asking him to do something that he never did. Marquez always fought the top fighters in his division. Always. No matter what division he was in. Right? Lastly, I believe a lot of this that Marquez brings up is simply misunderstood. Right? Now, has the beef grown over time? Yes, it has. But how would you respond if a young kid, who at the time, by the way, was not a big pay-per-view star. He was just a up-and-comer who was relatively popular in Mexico, right? And he was fighting on the undercard of Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight cards, okay? That helped him propel him into some popularity, okay? When you simply, all you do is bring up the fact, right, that this kid hasn't done anything to earn that title, and he's fighting nobody here, Matthew Haddon for the title, and you're doing it at a catch weight, it's an insult to the sport. And it's an insult to the contenders that have, built up blood, sweat, and tears, who are fighting month in, month out to earn a shot at that title. And you're just going to let this kid just jump over all of them. You're going to let Matthew Haddon just go ahead and skip the line ahead of everybody and just get a title shot just because of his last name. And just because you want to give Canelo a title, that seems problematic. You bring that up, and all you're told by Jose Suleiman and Canelo is, oh, you're a fucking hater. You're just hating. Well, how about you get in the ring with me then? I mean, just further proving the point. The response Canelo had to, why aren't you fighting a top contender to win that championship instead of a guy moving up and weight to fight you? Canelo's response to that was, why don't you move up to fight me? And I'll show you that I'm the real deal, right? When in that same interview, multiple times, Juan Manuel Marquez said, I have no doubt that this kid's going to be a star. I have no doubt that this kid is a great fighter. I just feel that he should do it the right way, right? And he simply said, I'm just pointing out the facts here. That's all I'm doing. And I'm mainly blaming the WBC. So this idea that he's just coming out of hate, did it escalate from there? Absolutely. Of course it did. All right? You get challenged to a fight by a much bigger guy. What are they going to do, fight? He's going to outweigh Marquez by like fucking 40 pounds. Come on. All right? So it's irrelevant. It really is. So at the end of the day, make no mistake about it, historically anyway, the criticisms that Marquez has put Canelo's way were not random. They were in shows that were asking him questions where he had to be an analysis. Okay? That's when Marquez was giving his thoughts. Somebody asked to go out of his way to just go say these things. That's not the way it worked. That's not what he did. It's not. Marquez, by the way, very critical of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when he was getting a lot of, freaking baby bottle treatment as well, right? And Marquez is, I think it was a very noble argument that he was making, right? Just because they're Mexican doesn't mean the WBC has to give them, special treatment. That's it. That's basically, in a nutshell, the only argument he was making. His argument was they had to earn it just like everybody else. That's it. That was his argument. That's the only argument Marquez has been making. Marquez doesn't want to see Canelo fail. Maybe now that Canelo's talking shit, sure, right? But, it didn't start that way. It didn't start with, I fucking hate this kid because he's popular. That's not how it went, right? So we need to look at, why did Marquez say these things? He was asked these things. He was invited to a show, right, that was based around that topic, all right? And he was asked his honest opinion on it. He looked at the facts and he gave his opinion. Canelo didn't like it. Canelo got butthurt. He used the whole, oh, you're just hating on me. Why are you hating on me? That's kind of weak. I'm sorry. Why are you hating is very weak. It's weak. It's weak. If you can't defend yourself with the actual facts, Canelo, right? If you don't have an explanation, well, of course you're going to say you're just hating. You know why? Because there was no explanation. There is no there's nothing that could justify him just getting a title shot from a vacant title, not against a ranked opponent, but against Matthew Haddon. There's nothing that could justify that. There's nothing that really justifies defending the middleweight championship at 155 against Amir Khan. There's nothing that can really oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right? With that said, now that that's been said, let's just come to the side a little bit here, okay? There is one instant, though, in fairness, where I do, as of right now, I disagree with Marquez. So if, I haven't seen the audio myself, or heard the audio myself, but if Marquez is still telling Canelo, hey, you got to fight Triple G, let me just say this, all right? I said the same thing with the $10 million offer. The $15 million offer just it makes it even more, all right, clear. It is on GGG to just sign that fucking contract. Okay, $15 million. Are you fucking shitting me? All right. So if that is the offer that they have put in front of Gennady Golovkin, then at that point it's not on Canelo anymore. It's not. It's Gennady Golovkin that needs to sign that contract, right? It's on him. That's what it's on. Just sign the contract. That's it. 15 million, dude. You never even seen 200,000 pay-per-views in your life, right? And then he's stupid enough. If I'm not mistaken, is the Gennady Golovkin Daniel Jacobs fight pay-per-view? If so, man, you better hope that does well, because if that pay-per-view flops, like holy shit. I mean, is that hurting your argument for I deserve more money, right? So I just want to go ahead and put that out there, right? I just want to give my thoughts on that. It's just boxing talk, and I'm out. Peace.